I hope we're back on. I do not know what happened there. I want to apologize to everybody. We lost internet signal for a little while here at the house, here at the dungeon, so I don't know what's going on. Hopefully we're still out there.
Hey, Bill, can you send maybe a type of message up just to ask, tell everybody we're live again, just to kind of let them know that. And let them see if they can tell if we're on or can hear us. I'm not really sure what's going on.
That's really bizarre. We've never had that issue before.
No.
We're having some technical difficulties. Please stand by.
Jamie had just joined us back on here. Now you're back from the outer space. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Again, technical difficulties.
It happens.
What are you going to say?
Take two.
Wow.
Anyway.
So our topic tonight is we're going to pick back up. Last week we did a live hunt from a location in Ryan, Iowa.
Yes.
And we had some experiences on that. But before we go into that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle.
Do I get to say it yet?
No.
No.
Whenever you're ready, you get to say
All
it.
right.
Oh, okay.
So we have some big news. Now we're going to have a couple surprises coming down the pipeline. This is the first one, and then you'll have to stay tuned for next week because we have one that's even bigger. But we were accepted again and very honored to be part of this. But we were accepted by the Warren Legacy Foundation for Paranormal Research. This is something so huge. They actually do what we do, and there is no 5 minutes of fame there.
No.
It is actually in the trenches. They help folks around the world. We're not just but around the world of people who are having problems and need help. Now, the Warren Legacy Foundation is the founder is Chris, and I've been able to talk to him and this beautiful woman, Katie, who we've been discussing, and he is actually the grandson of Lorraine and Ed Warren. And so he is taking on to continue the work that they started so many years ago.
Awesome.
And still doing it the way it should have been done. And again, I am very honored to have our team be part of something like this. And we will actually be sending out, everybody will have the logo out there. We're actually going to have the links and be able to put all that on our website. So people will be able to click on that and kind of go from there.
Awesome.
So if
That
you're
is a
watching Chris
huge
or
honor.
Katie or anybody that's on that page, again, thank you so much. I'm very humbled to be part of this.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
And to be able to do the work how it was meant to be.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that is where we're going. And I am really, really excited about it. What about you guys?
Yes.
Tough.
Very.
Tough.
And you notice
very.
I'm sitting really still after talking about this. I'm just like, so flushed,
Yeah.
But there's other news too. Things have been just kind of rolling around. Everything's going so fast. We're going to be doing a couple of other live shows coming up.
Yeah.
We're actually going to have some more, guests that are going to be coming into our dungeon.
Actually, we got
Um,
one next weekend. We do.
Yes,
We
that's
gotta
one of our big
say-
surprises
Yeah, that's a
too.
big surprise. So
We're going to have little
things.
things like that. But actually tonight we're doing something a little different. Right after our show, Drew, what's going to happen after our show goes off? There'll be another live stream right away.
Yes, it's gonna be another live stream right away after the show about the our haunted destination live from the notorious Daydream in Nightmares in Modesto, California, if I'm not mistaken.
And
Yes.
this place used to be an old funeral home, and but it was ran a little crooked with the mobsters and gangs and stuff. So the person who used to run it, I think, got in some trouble. But they have caught on security cameras and stuff like that, full body apparitions and everything. So
Wow.
definitely want to stay tuned, because with them going live, you'll be able to catch something there. Put in your comments. I think it's going to be exciting. So
Yeah.
right
Huge
after
show.
our show, definitely stay on and watch our haunted destination. You guys will
Yep.
really enjoy it.
That crew is really good.
Oh yes, very much so.
Yes, they are.
And my favorite topic of all, the haunted Macaneer Villa.
Oh, yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
These people
awesome.
that the owners, Stephanie and Jeff, and of course the house itself is very
Yes.
dear to my heart. You're not going to meet anybody any sweeter, more welcoming to the home. I call it one of those, what is it, like a glamorous haunting. You walk in, you look at all the beautiful stuff, but all the different types of things that happen there, you don't get the same thing all the time. It's crazy.
And when you
True.
walk into it, though, it's just like you're back in time.
Yes.
Is what it's like, and it's just the way they have it all set up. It's just amazing. They have put a lot of time and money into this, and they've just got it amazingly looking.
It was really
good.
nice, the amount of upkeep they've done. And
Yes.
keep it true to the time.
Yes.
I mean, they've done everything they could to
Yep.
keep it very accurate to the time that it would have
Absolutely.
been in its
Oh, yeah.
prime. It was
Yep.
an amazing place.
Actually, one of our live video feeds
That's right.
is at
Yeah.
the McIntyre Villa on the Spirit Realm Network website. You can check that out. They've
Yes.
got some awesome stuff from that so far.
Constantly catching something. And mark your calendars. August 17th.
Mhm.
Our live show will be from the Macaneer Villa. We will be interviewing Stephanie and Jeff.
Yep.
They're going to give us the history about it. And then we will be doing a live hunt from there too. So I'm excited to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys will
Absolutely.
actually be able to meet some of our Kansas City crew
Yep.
that part of RIP that's in Kansas City. They're actually going to be there. So you're going to actually be able to meet some of our other RIP team members.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's going to be a win-win for everybody.
Woo-hoo.
So, Jake, anything been going on with you? Okay, not so. That's good. So now today.
So,
I'm used to it.
wow, this is jump time. So I want to kind of jump right into our topic.
Yes.
Yes.
Because I really want to get into this one. But we went live at a location in Ryan, Iowa. There was some weird things going on, but I really people wanted to know, how did we get there? Why did we get there? So I want to have Michelle, I want you to kind of explain how we got there and how this all came about. And then we'll kind of talk about the other pieces of it.
So I was on a road trip and was asked a whole bunch of times for every little gas station we passed, do you have to go to the bathroom? I said no. And I really didn't have to go. And I normally don't drink a lot, so that doesn't happen. Well, after you're miles away from all of them, that, I had to go to the bathroom. And it was really bad. And found out, well, it's going to be one of those, there was no bathrooms for a long while. And I'm thinking it's going to probably be the side of the road. And then all of a sudden, it goes, I heard from Todd, there's only one gas station and it's probably closed because it's been closed. We pull up next to it, it said open. First thing out of Tristan's mouth was, well, good luck with that. You'll probably get murdered while you're in there. So I go in. Now, mind you, neither one of them get out of the vehicle and send me in.
Lots of love.
Lots of love going on there, right? I walk
Buddy
in.
system.
The bathroom's right there, and I have your coffee ready. Huh?
Huh?
So I do the bathroom
Wow.
and everything, and I run out there. You guys got to come in here. There was a whole bunch of stuff in there, and I was all excited. So as I'm going through this place, I just start meeting some folks in there that were not from the living. And I didn't say nothing. Well, then Todd had carried on the conversation, and then that's how we kind of got this set up. And I was not able to join you guys last weekend,
Right.
but you guys caught some amazing things. And it was just, it was kind of crazy because I'd seen a lot of that prior and was able to follow you guys last week on live.
Yep.
And this is where, how we always say, hello, Ethan, because he's our junior.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Hi, Ethan.
Hi,
Hi,
Ethan. And so anyways, well, tonight we get to say hi, Ethan, because he was actually on the live chat following
Yes, he
you
was.
guys. He actually was seeing and pinpointing things that I had seen prior to going there, things that you
Okay.
guys were seeing there. And I thought how great it would be to have him sit on this table and have the discussion while you guys go over all of it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I am going to say I'm checking out right now. again, I want to thank everybody for, especially our sponsors. I want to also say thank you to the Warren Foundation and just say thank you to everyone that watches us. And if everybody can just do a wave on the comments to welcome Ethan, and I'm going to bring him over here and watch you guys for a change.
Woohoo!
Hi. Hi, Ethan.
Hi, Ethan.
Hey, Ethan.
Welcome to
Welcome, Ethan. Glad to have you on the panel.
Yes.
I'm glad to be here. It's exciting.
Yeah. It's great. Okay.
Do you want to start?
Well, if you want to start, you can start. Go
I was
ahead.
just going to ask Ethan,
Also,
first of
right.
all, what did you think about the live?
I loved it.
You enjoyed it?
Yes, I
'Cause you
enjoyed it a
were-
lot.
You were there from the beginning, right? So you saw the
Yes.
whole thing?
Yes.
Okay, because you were doing a lot of comments.
Yes.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about some of the things that you were seeing?
In the first place you guys started where you guys were talking, in that back room it was all dark. I swore I saw like a black figure move.
Okay.
From the, I think it was like a door, I think. Like,
Mhm.
In the doorway.
yeah, from
Okay.
the doorway, and it moved. It just moved forward and it was gone.
Okay.
Oh,
It
okay.
must have been
What did the
right
black figure look like?
Yeah.
It was a little tall.
Taller than Bill. This Bill here.
I don't exactly know.
Okay.
Yes, he is tall.
He is tall, yeah. Okay.
And
Oh,
was
that's
it,
fine.
could you see through it or was it solid?
Solid and black.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay. So we had a
Nice.
black figure.
And that kind of came up behind us, you said, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
That must have been right in that doorway that was right behind us that went
Mhm.
into that other room. Okay.
Mhm.
Well, that's cool.
Also remember what everybody else saw where White was on the camera.
Oh, yeah. Bill was talking about how the camera kind of went white.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's kind of strange that
Yep.
it would go wide unless something was had walked in front of it. That-
Right.
You know, that what could have happened. But there is a lot that did happen at this place. The people who own it now, they found out that the people prior to them, I believe it
Mhm.
was, that owned it, she murdered her husband, but not in
Yes.
that place right there. She had done it at their house. And she's still, to this day, is still in prison. And it's been, what they say, I think 5 years ago, wasn't it, that they
It's
said? it was?
2011.
So it's been about
It's been
8
a while,
years,
yeah,
about 8
recently.
years.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just recently that she did that. But the people who own it now, they said that whatever is in there is not hurting them or anything. Because we asked, has it hurt you? Has it, scratched you or anything like that? And they said no. They haven't had any of that. The only thing that they have had is that that every now and then they'll find a penny somewhere.
Mhm.
Just out of nowhere, a penny will show up. So what they're thinking is that it might be in the owner. His name was Larry.
Terry.
I'm sorry. Thank you for correcting me. I'm sorry. That he may be leaving that there to let him know, hey, I'm here.
Mhm.
So.
Well, because they were saying it was only in just really random spots. Things, they
Yep.
would wipe a table off, and so then they'd know that it was clean. They'd come back a couple minutes later, and there was a penny just
Well,
on the table.
It was like what she said in that one back room. She had painted the whole floor.
Mhm.
Then she came back a little later, and there
And
was a penny on the floor.
in the middle of the floor.
In the
Yeah.
middle of the floor. And she's just like, where did this come from?
Yep.
So they find this every now and then, but nothing has ever been to be knocked over. Nothing has been missing or anything like that. Because most places, if you've got spirits or entities in there, you will, a lot of times, something has been pushed off the shelf or something is missing. But with this one, they haven't had any problems whatsoever. When we did start going live, when we started going back in that back room, there was some activity back
Mhm.
there.
Before we jump back to that back room, can we go to like the very beginning?
Sure.
One of the things that had happened before we actually were even live, there was a gentleman that was there who had been a very good friend with the gentleman who had been murdered.
And they asked for, and before Bill continues, they have asked us not to mention their names. Were not on any of our videos that we had done live because they asked not to be, and so we respected that and we did not do that.
So, but one of the things that had happened is Jake was walking around, and one of the people that were there, especially the gentleman that was there, was kind of asking, "What do you feel? What are you feeling? What did you see?" They actually, their very first question was, "Did Michelle describe to you guys what she saw?"
No.
And she hadn't. She had just told us, there's something there. And then the gentleman asked Jake what he saw, and Jake, can you describe him again?
Yeah, so, I actually saw two different things in that room, because you had asked me to go back there.
Yep.
I hadn't been back there in that back room yet, and so when I first got back there, I hadn't even entered the room, and I saw a man that, he looked like a baker or a cook or something. He had the tall white hat.
The chef's hat?
Yep, he had the apron on, and he was there for a quick flash, and then he was gone. And I kind of took a step back because he didn't quite fit with the rest of the environment and those kinds of things. But then I walked into the room, and I saw an older gentleman who was balding on the top of his head, so he had the horseshoe shaped hair, and he had on a charcoal grayish colored suit jacket, and he was just kind of meandering around that back room, just kind of checking on things, going back and forth, and he seemed to really not pay much attention to me. He was kind of just going about his business. So I walked into the room and I stood in the middle, got in his way, sort of. And there were a couple times where he kind of leaned in to try and say something to me, but then he was just all over the place, going from one side of the room to the next. And so then I came out of that room and met up with you guys, and you were interviewing that gentleman.
Yep.
And then he had asked what I had seen, and that was what I told him. And then he showed Michelle and I the picture.
What we had done before that is that we got Michelle onto a video call.
Right. Yep.
So that way she could describe what she saw, and then the gentleman showed the picture to both of you, and then that's when you both, we could hear Michelle go, and
"Oh my goodness!"
Yeah. And so it was,
because it was that man that we had both seen.
Terry.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was that was amazing that both of you saw the same person, but she saw it had different clothes on than what you did. She may have seen him when he had his work clothes on, and you saw him when he could have been dressed up to go like to church or whatever, So
I know we had a lot of discussion on the pennies and all that, and then we moved into the live.
Yep.
On the live, there's actually a question for Ethan.
Yep.
They want to know, Ethan, what else did you see on the live, and what could you feel anything on the live?
Couldn't feel anything, but I saw some more stuff like a blue box when you guys so somebody mentioned something about where the clothes rack kind of was. I could have swore I saw the blue box kind of turn around.
Okay.
Was the box on the floor?
It was on one of the shelves.
And you
The
saw
lower
it
shelf.
turn?
Yeah, the lower shelf.
Oh,
okay.
okay.
In the
And that was on the clothes rack,
not
or a different rack that was close
it was
to
on a shelf behind the
Oh,
clothes rack.
okay. I see. The
Right.
shelves that were back on the wall.
And when you guys were sitting in this one dark room, I think I could have swore that the door moved a little bit.
When we were sitting on the floor?
Yeah.
The door that was right by you.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. Because you weren't that close to that door. You were.
I was in the middle of the room.
Yeah. So.
Some other people mentioned that door.
Yeah, they did.
too.
There were some other people that did mention it, and there was some other people that mentioned there was figure that was in front of me, a dark figure that was
Yeah.
in front of me when we were back there. And I think when you see the videos, you see me going like this with my eyes closed and to see. And so, but then someone mentioned, I believe you said, they said something about a crawler or something, Bill.
Wasn't
Yeah.
there 2 of them?
Yeah, people were talking about a crawler. So can you guys explain,
Mhm.
so everybody knows kind of what we discuss or we talk about when we see a crawler?
Okay, what I see is a crawler, and what these guys do, which probably is the same as what I do. All it is like the torso, and it's a dark torso, and then all it has is just arms, and they crawl on the floors, they crawl up on the walls, they crawl on the ceilings. I mean, they just crawl all over the place. Now,
Even
someone-
up on people every now and
yes,
Yeah.
they have gone up onto people.
That's giving me nightmares.
But some people, when they see them, they may not see that it looks like that. They may see it as looks a little different. But for us, that's how we see
Or
it.
they might see something similar, just have a different name for it.
Yeah, they could have a different name. But they are fast. They move fast, and it can be kind of creepy at times when you do see these, because all of a sudden you see it at the corner of your eye, and it's moving this way, or moves that way, or it comes right at you, and it's
And
I've had
right
that.
about the time they were mentioning it. Now, Ethan, did you see the crawler or not?
No, Piper said she did.
Okay.
okay.
Because right about the time it got brought up, and on the live I mentioned it, that I had seen in my head something slither along the floor, almost like a snake,
Oh yeah,
and then
yeah.
it wrapped itself around my legs.
Yes, that's right.
Oh.
Because somebody said something about that on the live. I'm not sure who it was, but they did say that they saw something that looked like a snake that was wrapping around by your feet.
Yep.
So it was So, but
That's not
I have a
creepy,
question.
think.
yes,
Michelle.
I noticed last weekend, and it was Ethan, but there was other people also on the comments when I was on there.
Mhm.
And Ethan, you kept saying there was something in front of Kelly all the time, and it kept following her and moving around. And everybody else said about the same thing. Can you kind of explain what you seen walking in front of Kelly and all that, what it was or how it moved? Because this way people can understand what the comments were last weekend.
For me, I just saw kind of like a black orb thing, just following.
So it
Okay.
was a circle.
Yeah, just a circle.
Okay.
Oh wow! And it followed me all the way around the whole time that we were doing the live show.
The first time I saw was when you were in one of the other rooms.
Okay.
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 That's when I saw right in front of you.
Okay. I must have been when I was standing right by the clothes
The
rack.
clothes rack.
It was
And
Yeah.
then it was sitting right in front of me then.
Yeah. I saw right in front of your face. I could
Oh,
still see
so it
through
was.
Mm.
Oh, you could see through it.
I saw through it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
Did it move from Kelly's face while she was standing there, or was it there the whole time?
It moved to the side a little bit.
Okay. Now, when I was in a different room, was it still with me when I went into a different room, or did it stay in that room?
I believe it stayed in that room because when
Okay.
it was dark, I couldn't see it.
Okay. Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. But that's really strange. I guess maybe that's why my little tingling thing, must have known that something was right there. And you kept seeing some things every now and then though too, didn't you?
Yeah, Ethan was, and other people on the comments were actually seeing more than I was.
Oh.
It was almost, because before we went live
Mm-hmm.
was when I was seeing things the most, and then it was
Okay.
almost as soon as we went live,
Mm-hmm.
it was like a wall went up and I was blocked from everything.
Oh wow.
So then I was really relying on Ethan and all the other comments when they were saying, oh, we're seeing this, or there's something in front of Kelly. I'm sitting there, I'm looking around, and I'm going, somebody clue me in, kind of thing. But I was really glad that we had Ethan on the
Oh,
comments, because you were killing it.
Yeah.
Piper mentioned something near the end. She said she thought she heard a little girl talking.
Yeah, some
You
other
know
people
what?
had mentioned a little
Mhm.
girl in the comments, too.
I forgot what it said. I think it was I think it said daddy or son.
Oh.
Well,
I
then we
know.
also, more near towards the end of the actual live stream, I heard it, and I know Ethan, you had commented on it.
I heard it.
You heard there was a crying,
I did
like a
too.
little girl like whimpering and crying in the background. So
Yep.
And I had heard that not when you heard it, Bill, but I had heard it, I think, a little bit before. I think I had mentioned something, or maybe it was after. I had said, there's a little girl, I think it was after, because that's when I went back in the other room and I said, I know exactly where she's at. She's in here.
That's right, because we walked into that, and
don't worry about that.
And that's where that was where we ended the live.
Yeah, it was right there
A minute or
because
two
it started
after we
getting-
had walked in there.
it started getting really, wasn't really doing, starting to get really.
So one of the
Dark.
comments we have on here from Stephanie, what Ethan was talking about being in front of Kelly near the clothes rack, she said she saw it too.
Oh,
she-
okay.
So we're validating everything Ethan's seeing and everything he was saying.
Awesome.
So.
Awesome. Now, before we did the live feed, when we were sitting there interviewing the one gentleman, Terry was talking to you, and you gave the gentleman a message from Terry, and the message was that he said he was sorry, and the gentleman's like, why would he be sorry? You know, why would he be sorry? And then that's when you had talked to him off after everything was done and explained it to
After
him
the
and
live,
stuff. Right,
Yep.
right, and explained to him what Terry actually said and everything, and that kind of helped the gentleman
Get closure.
get closure. Yeah.
That was, I
Yeah.
mean, that was because he was very good friends
Mm-hmm.
with Terry, and
He
then
was.
that tragedy had happened, and
Mm-hmm.
so he was looking for closure.
Yeah, but and then Bill, I think something happened to him
At one point,
at
yeah.
one point. I'm not sure what that was. I mean,
So I was running the camera,
Mhm.
doing the
Yeah.
videoing, and we got into the back room. We went into the back sales area, I guess it is.
Mhm.
And you guys that was about the time that Ethan, you guys were talking about that there was things happening in there. And as we got ready to walk away, it felt like something grabbed my legs. Like two really cold hands grabbed my legs and held on and just wanted to stay right here, don't move. And then it was like it pulled towards one of the shelves, and I didn't want to pick up the doll that was sitting there because I knew Michelle was watching and I didn't want her to scream, but it just got my entire body got this ice cold sensation, and I broke out into a sweat.
That's when
When
I
it stopped you in your
Oh
tracks.
yeah, it was like just a wall that I hit. Like I walked into a refrigerator, but I was sweating profusely. So and then we got ready to move, we tried to move again, and it just slowly went away.
I guess somebody had a message for you and trying to get a message to you.
Well, they
Get
need to
his
learn how to
attention
text.
for some
Or his
reason.
attention, huh? What's that?
They need to learn how to text.
Well, I think that's kind of hard for them to do. I mean, their fingers might go right through the board if they tried, or the keys or whatever, you know.
Now I wasn't going to bring this part up, but I have to
Yeah.
because only Jake would have found what we found. One of the things that were found there.
Oh, the
As
book.
everybody knows, Jake
Oh.
does tarot readings
Yeah,
and finds tarot for dummies.
That was toward the beginning,
Yeah.
yeah.
and I just happened to be looking
Yeah.
around, and it just popped out at me. Yeah,
Wonder where I can find that book.
we can give you the address, and you can go find it.
I wonder if they sell it in any other places like the library.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
I'm
I've
sure
seen it in
probably
some other
is.
That or
bookstores.
Amazon or
Barnes and Noble, I
Yeah.
think, has got it.
But yeah, this place was awesome. It's like a consignment store that they have, so there's a lot of different antiques in there. There's knickknacks and whatever.
toys.
So it has a lot of people's energy on them and
So
stuff. But the energy that was in there was not bad though.
No.
When we were there, I mean, it was calm, And I didn't think that,
There was a little bit there at the end,
yeah,
but that wasn't associated with
no,
the
they
building.
think that may have been from, may have come from outside, across the road, I think it was. with the
Yeah, it was
cemetery.
across and down the road.
Yeah.
But
the
there's a
cemetery.
sad side to this whole thing too. The reason we know we'd love to promote them, we'd love to have everybody go out there and buy anything you can from these guys. But the sad side of this whole thing is the owners of the actual building have decided they're going to tear it down.
Yep.
And they're going to get rid of it.
It's in
Yeah.
what?
They're
I'm
just-
thinking about 2
2 weeks.
3 weeks.
Two,
They've only got
3
so much
weeks.
time to be out of there.
Yeah.
And that's the sad side of it. I'd love
Yeah.
to go back and do another investigation there and do a little bit more extensive one.
Before they
But we're
close
not
it
going to get
down.
a chance to. Now, does that being said that we couldn't go back and do an investigation where we're just on the land or the property?
Mhm.
What's there is there. It's going to be there.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that's the
And
bad
it's
part
just-
of it.
Yeah. But everything that they have in there, they're selling everything in there. They
Yeah.
have to. They don't have a choice, and so I don't know what to say. It's just
All right, let's
That's
jump.
sad.
Let's jump real quick and
Okay.
go to. So we were in the back room, and then we moved back into that big storage room area.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I want to know what Ethan, when we moved back into that storage room area, what did you feel there or see there?
I'm not really a person to feel things, but I usually see what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I barely see spirits, but sometimes I'll see them.
So when we were in that room, and I know it was dark in there, but did you see anything while we were in there?
Just the door.
Just the door move?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Did you hear anything besides what we were saying?
No, I didn't hear anything. I was
Okay.
hearing everything you guys said.
Okay. No, that's fine. That's fine. So
Well, I seen a whole bunch of stuff while you guys were in the storage.
okay.
And what I was seeing was this little girl. So you guys were talking earlier about the crying or maybe hearing daddy. There was actually a little girl in there that was playing with Jake. And I didn't know at the time that for some reason Jake was kind of blocked off. It was like everything was cut off on him. But there were other folks on that actually helped say, this is what we've seen and everything else. I know at one point, I believe Ethan had said, and he wasn't the only one, that the door moved by you guys. But what was happening during that time of the little girl playing with Jake, we all noticed, and some other folks were noticing, it was starting to affect them physically too.
Oh,
Because
wow.
things
Yeah.
started shifting to more of a darker side.
Yep.
So
Okay.
what came in, and I think as we're looking at some of this stuff, when Ethan was talking about seeing the black, like orb looking thing in front of you guys, the more I think of how everything started transpiring there is, I believe it was that dark shadow guy that came across, because that's when the little
Okay.
girl, you guys caught the crying and things like that. Very scared of this person. And as it was going, that's when the crawlers started coming out. Now the crawlers were some on the ceiling and some on the floor. Some said one looked like a spider.
Yep.
So a lot of these
Wow.
comments were seeing it and people were starting to feel it physically. So that's
Wow.
when we started talking about it might be time to kind of shut that down and go from there.
Yeah.
But so as you guys are watching, you started everything with the light. But what people need to know is they're in that place you guys were at. The little girl, this shadow person, some other people that were coming back and forth, that they were feeling it, they were seeing it. They actually came from somewhere else.
Mm,
So they're not part of that place.
okay.
So what Ethan was actually seeing and stuff, I think was a start of things actually
Yeah.
starting to come in.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
And we started getting a lot of dark stuff. It shifted really quick.
Yeah, and that's when we decided, okay, it's time
Yes.
to cut it off.
Because I did finally start picking up on some of that right at the very end. I think the last, minute or two
Mm-hmm.
of the live, we went back into that storage room.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had seen the little girl in the corner, but there was the shadow man standing in the middle of the room. And I kind of side shuffled my way there, and I said, he's standing right here. paused for a little bit, and then I think it was like 10 seconds before we cut it, you hear me say, "You can't touch her," because she was yelling and crying, and she was showing me that she was like hit by this guy, and that's why I said, "You can't touch her. You can't do anything to her." And then that was when Bill was like, "Okay, we got to go. People are getting affected. Let's cut it."
And that's something we don't want people to do. I mean, if they're starting
Right.
to get affected by just watching it, no, that's when we have to say, okay, that's it. We're done. You know, so because we don't want anybody to get so ill that, you know, it's not good.
Right.
So, but we do want to, there's one thing that we would like to do though, is we would like to thank our sponsor, the McIntyre Villa. They are awesome. And if you ever get a chance to go there, they're in Atchison, Kansas. And it's an amazing, amazing place.
Absolutely incredible place.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
huge.
Yeah, it's just, it's
People
don't
are going to
have
know
words.
exactly what it is because we're marking the calendars for the
Yep.
17th of
Yep.
August.
Mark your calendar.
Mark them.
Callum.
We are definitely gonna be there live. So when they actually go in there, and if you can't wait till we get there, you can go right onto their website.
Mhm.
We have the links that we're gonna put on there. They are very easy to work with. Book an overnight or just to be there a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Just give them a call
Mhm.
or, send them, an email or whatever, whatever way you guys would do that. But I would recommend everybody to at least go visit once,
Mhm.
and great people,
Oh,
people. And
definitely.
we are, I'm very humbled that they're one of our sponsors.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them
They
to
are.
death.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, and you guys can see it. The history of that place is
It's
phenomenal.
amazing. It's just, and they keep finding more and more history about it. I mean, it's just, you read it and it's like, wow.
Well, and I'm going to do a crazy little shout out. We noticed that we have from Southeast Texas, James. This would be my father. And so I want to say hi to my dad. Hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
Thank you for tuning in, for the first time. So I got my dad. I have my nephew. I have my brother-in-law.
Wait.
Those pauses.
How many times have we been on?
A lot.
And this is your dad's first time?
Well, probably because there wasn't nothing on TV.
Never mind.
Love you, Dad. But no, I've got my family, got a great support. We
Mhm.
have our paranormal family supporting us.
We do.
We have people like Ethan,
Yep.
Yeah.
who's one of our top fans that actually jumped in, and it's been great to have him come on and
Yeah.
be part of the show.
Great.
I mean, this is something that we love doing. If you guys have more questions, we would love to hear
Definitely.
more or ask questions about our live hunt.
Mhm.
Because normally when we talk, we just go blah, 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 blah. There could be something that you guys might want to hear about. Hey, I would say ask Drew a question because all he's doing over there is warming a seat. So he might need a question. He is single. He does have a nice beard, and he is employed.
He used to have a nice beard.
So now,
he
if
used to have
there's
a better
any single
beard.
ladies
It's still
out
nice.
there,
So, Drew, do you like long walks on the beach?
I do actually.
And he
There you
doesn't
go.
like the seagulls pecking on his head.
No,
No.
nobody likes seagulls. That's no way.
But some of the other things I noticed when we were actually there, I was watching from this side.
Mhm.
So we have actually a question
Squirrel?
for Drew. Sorry.
Oh, man.
Drew, how's the gnome village? What is a gnome village?
Is this Todd? Because that sounds like a, no.
A
No.
little smaller than Todd.
Tristan.
Oh, Tristan.
I
So,
was just questioning.
A lot of these guys give me a hard time that I am, for being short and that I look a lot like a gnome. So
The thing is, you're not even the shortest member on the team.
not. That's
No.
that's the funniest part. But
No?
really starting to get me a little hat and some
I
little gnome shoes. maybe a blue jacket or something.
Yeah.
But so there was another part, and I
Maybe
know
Halloween or
Ethan had put some comments, and I'm trying to remember the comments. But you guys were actually still in that back storage room.
Okay.
And I know that you guys were like in the corner talking, and a lot of people couldn't really see you guys there. And I was trying to catch what you were talking. But when you were there, I believe Ethan, myself, and there was a couple other lovely ladies that were on there. I think one's actually at the Mason Inn tonight. They're there with Chris Moon and Dee and Mama Moon. But they had said they were seeing like two people there that were almost arguing with each other. Now, here's the funny thing. With watching you guys in the dark and just seeing your outline, you guys almost look like you were mimicking what the spirits were actually doing, trying to figure out what was going on. And a lot of people caught that.
Are you talking
And
about
so,
when I was looking at the
when
thing
you were
on the
looking,
shelf?
but the way you guys were moving, it was almost like a mimic of what actually was happening. And see Ethan shaking his head. So because you guys didn't get to see a lot of those comments, you know, and things like that, it was kind of one of those things that those were going on all around you. So there was a lot of things.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Well, I do remember that you were talking about when they sat down on the floor, that the little girl was very interested in Jake's shoes.
Yes.
And
Because she had none.
Oh.
okay.
So she was liked your shoes and maybe
I think she
wanted
was
them.
trying to figure out what Jake really was. Because he had little ears and little feet. And maybe she thought it was like a little fairy or something. I don't know. But she did really like you. And the bad thing is he was blocked and he did not get to really see how she was. And people were enjoying.
I saw her at the end in the corner.
But a lot of people actually did see it. And, you know, I think Ethan heard her giggling or something. And I'm just, Ethan, you have to jump in every once in a while. I'm trying to remember some of your comments. So if I'm wrong, correct me and say, no, I said a different word. Okay. But there was also, during that time, it almost looked like it was residual of the fighting, the energy in there.
It's
And
like they didn't even know we were there and they were just fighting
No.
among themselves or
Mhm.
arguing among
Yeah.
themselves. Which that happens a lot in places that we go. There's a lot of residual. They don't even know that we're there. And they're just passing through and then they pass through again and they pass through again. You know, it's like a cycle, you know.
Now
My
my
movie
question.
clip just replays through every now and again.
Yep.
My question is, and I had wondered this at the time, was it the two people that were fighting? Was it a man and a woman?
I believe so. If I remember, I was a man and a woman. And I honestly thought I was getting a feeling of it was more of an imprint of what was going on there. But some of the other comments, that were out there, I think it might have been two other people. I was going to two people I thought it might have been. But as I was looking at the comments, I think it went a different direction.
So it has nothing to do with the place at all.
It could have been. You got to remember the place has been there a while.
Yep, that's true.
You know, and also, what year was it they stated that the town actually became?
It was in the late
18
1800s.
Yeah.
1800s.
So what was there before? I mean, we don't know what sat on the property before.
Right.
Was there a farmhouse there? Was something? Did another murder happen there?
Yeah.
Again, when we talk about all this paranormal, the locations we go to, different buildings and different. Everybody always wants to talk about the building, like we always talk about. Think outside the box.
Yeah.
What the land has been there a lot longer than the buildings have.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've got to kind of. That's why we tell everyone that when you're going to start a group or you're going to become part of a group, make sure that group has a historian that can go dig into these things and dig into these small areas and try to find old maps. Old maps are the best thing in the world.
Yeah,
Because some of your old
lines.
maps will show Indian battles. Some of your old maps will show the Underground Railroad running through there. What happened there? We don't know. So, like you were saying, the two people, and Jake, I think you made the comment on this. it was kind of like the gentleman that was there that you had described in the very beginning
Mhm.
probably didn't even know that those two others were there.
Oh yeah.
He was there taking care of his old business. Now, he
Yeah.
was 59
59.
years old when his life was taken from him.
Yep.
He didn't die all of a sudden. He was
Well,
murdered.
he was
He
murdered.
died, yeah. So he's still taking care of his business, one of his businesses. He's taking care of his stuff around him.
Yeah, and he's also taking care of the people who are in there too. They're making
Yeah,
sure that
yeah.
they're okay. You know, he's just he's not causing any problems for them or anything. And if there is some problems, who's to say that maybe he's keeping them away so
Mhm.
that way they can. But from what we understand, he's very happy with them. But then he's also sad because the place is going to be torn down because he had it first. I'm not sure how many years, but that was his business.
He had two businesses. One was uptown, and then he had this farm implement business that was down in the building we were in. And he went 7 days a week. Those businesses were open. Somebody was at one of his businesses, and he was at one of the businesses 7 days work. Hardworking man, just trying to make $1, doing what he knew was right and the way he was raised. Just you got
Yeah.
to do what's right.
They were telling us 7 days a week he was there from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and then went and had a drink and a smoke and then went to bed and got up the very next day, got there at 5:45 to be ready to open at 7 a.m. and
Yep.
7 days a week.
Yep, he loved what he did too. It was amazing. In fact, the people that have it now, that when they got the place and they moved in, they were doing some cleaning. And the one lady, she found a plastic container.
It was like a jar, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably about this big, but at least maybe a quarter or maybe even more of nothing but wheat pennies in there. And the people who were there before didn't even find it. They had cleaned everything out, but apparently they didn't see it because there was a shelf and another shelf and it was stuck back behind. And so she took the pennies out and put it in her bag and took them home. But every one of them that are in there are wheat pennies. And so she brought them and she showed it to us. But she thought that was pretty cool. And so she's thinking that's why all these other pennies are showing up, because maybe he's wanting to put them with that collection, even though they're newer ones, but still,
I don't know.
it's-
Maybe he was leaving wheat pennies or something. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of awesome.
Yeah, it could be. But they
It was an interesting place to
Yeah.
watch, you guys. I wasn't able to join, but it was kind of nice to actually
be on
do
the
that.
other side.
I actually enjoyed seeing Ethan doing some of that work too, and I
That's
want to thank
awesome.
Ethan being with us tonight.
Thank you, Ethan.
Yes.
Thank you,
You're
Ethan.
very much welcome.
Also, next week, our show next week is going to be very interesting. We're going to be talking old school paranormal
Yep.
to new school, I guess you would call it.
The old and the new.
We're bringing in an
An
old
ancient-
schooler.
Yeah, an ancient dinosaur. We're actually going to have a special guest on next weekend that we're going to be talking, kind of comparing from when, the paranormal was going, around back in the 70s and 80s and stuff like that to where everything is at now. So make sure everybody tunes in next week. We're actually want to thank our sponsors again, the McAneer Villa. And also would like to thank the Warren Legacy Foundation
Yep.
again.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we are actually going to cut out a couple minutes early tonight because that live show, we don't want you guys to miss the beginning of it or
No.
anything. So we're actually going to give them just a little bit of a break and then go from there. Again, Ethan, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
We
thank
greatly
you, Ethan.
appreciate it. And I would say we'll see you
In the dark.